Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you for a reunion. And from our youngest alumni who are celebrating their first reunion to those who are celebrating over 60 years, it's just so great to see everyone back on campus, talking to each other, and really living the community that I think is so special and so important to Barnard. Before I start, I do want to thank Shilpa Bari, who has been our reunion committee chair, and for all the hard work she has done to make reunion so special. So please join me in a round of applause. I understand that this is her last year as reunion chair, but we know that she will be with us and cheering us on even after that duty is over. So as you heard, it's my second year at Barnard, and people ask me, how's it going? And I often reply, I'm happy it's not my first, because, just to be honest, because you get a sense of really understanding a community when you've been here a couple of years, and I've really come to understand how special Barnard is. And in fact, I tell the story when about a year in, I called my mom and I said, why didn't I go to Barnard? I was on the West Coast, there were other reasons, but you know, Barnard is such an amazing place, and one of the reasons it's so amazing is because it's singular, it's unique. There is absolutely nothing like it. And you as alumni, no matter whether you're in New York, California, across the world, are one of the reasons that Barnard is so unique. And I really want to say I appreciate how much you've contributed in terms of time, in terms of talent, in terms of treasures to the Barnard community, in terms of what you have done and what you continue to do, because that is really what makes Barnard so special. It's not just the 4 years students spend on campus, it's that they're entering a Barnard family of 35,000 alumni who fight for them, who help make connections for them, who model what it means to pursue your passions in many different career paths, who model what it means to take nonlinear paths, to maybe leave the workforce, to have children and to come back, to take opportunities that you didn't know you wanted, to lose at certain things, to fail, and then to get up and be resilient. And that's really the power of this community. It comes from what students learn on campus, and then it comes from the lifelong connection everyone has to Barnard. So thank you for being that. It's so important. Just a very brief introduction about me, because I haven't met some of you in this room. I have now been at Barnard, as you know, for 2 years, and before that I spent 12 years at the University of Chicago as a faculty member in psychology and education, and also as executive vice provost. And I'm a cognitive scientist by training, which means I ask questions about how we learn to perform at our best. And I've been really particularly interested in my research and why we sometimes don't put our best foot forward when it matters most, why we sometimes choke under pressure or flub an interview or talk when all eyes are on us. So I've spent most of my career looking at that, what happens in the brain and body when we perform poorly. And I've been especially interested in women and girls and how they might succeed in subjects like math and science, because there's absolutely no biological or brain reason why a woman or girl shouldn't be any less competent in math and science. And so my question has been, what happens in the environment, and how can we change that environment to ensure that everyone's moving up to their potential? And that really is what Barnard's about. It's about giving extraordinary young women the tools to go out and be even more extraordinary, to break through barriers, and we're so excited to do that. You may have heard about our amazing commencement a few weeks ago. We had Viola Davis here, and she was a huge hit. If you haven't seen the speech, you can go and watch it online. And the one thing that really struck me is a line that she said. She talked about giving our students not just a diploma, but a sword to go out and change the world. And so that is really the epitome of what we're doing here. We're giving our young women the tools to go out and make waves and change the world. And you, as alumni, are the role models for that. They are modeling what you have done in the past. In addition to Viola Davis, we had 3 amazing medalists, one who's here today, Shirley Adelson-Siegel, class of 37. We had 6,000 people in Radio City Music Hall. You should have seen it. And there was a standing ovation for Shirley and the groundbreaking work she's done as a lawyer advocating for the rights of those who might not be as advantaged. Just really amazing. We also had another alum, Sana Amanat, class of '04, who was the first, drew the first Muslim superhero, a woman for a comic book, and now she's directing and producing and doing all amazing things. And then writer and activist Sherry Moraga, who isn't an alum, but we think she is an honorary one in that. It's really a great job. And commencement was just another time to reflect on what really is so special about Barnard. And when I talk about Barnard now, I talk about how it's singular. There is no other institution in the country or in the world devoted to empowering young women to pursue their passions, that has the most esteemed faculty tenured at Barnard and Columbia who are so dedicated to their research and to teaching our students, where we have this small, tight-knit, and really supportive community with the larger academic resources of Columbia University, and then where we have the best campus in the world, which is New York City. You put that together, there is absolutely nothing like it. And our applicants are getting a taste of this and seeing this. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the class of 2023. Can you believe it? The class of 2023. That's going to be coming in next year. We had an 18% increase in applications this year. In case anyone's counting, that's a rate that's 2.5 times higher than the average increase of the Ivies. I'm not counting. And we had over 9,300 applications for 600 spots. It makes us one of the most selective of any college and university in the country. And although there are many places and ways to get a fantastic education, I think what this is showing us is that the demand for the unique combination that is Barnard, a place that empowers women and models what it can be like, with 60% of our faculty as women, with our students going off to amazing careers and other education opportunities. It's really such a fantastic time to be welcoming this class. The class is also over half identify as women of color, and 15% are first in their family to go to a four-year college. You know, this is really so important because what Barnard is about is academic excellence, and you cannot have that academic excellence unless you have a diversity of opinions, a diversity of lived experiences at the table, unless you are challenging each other. Talking about your ideas to someone who agrees with you does not sharpen them in the same way that learning to have discussion across differences does. And that's why we work so hard to create this diverse community of young women who come in and then learn from faculty and go out and push boundaries. And it's just such an exciting time, and we're so excited for them. As Shilpa mentioned, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update about what's happened on campus if you haven't been here recently. You can see structurally we've had an amazing addition, the Milstein Center for Teaching and Learning. It's just such a fantastic place, and it really has become the undergraduate library for both sides of the street, which is really exciting. Students from Barnard and Columbia are hanging out there together. And in addition to that, we've been pushing in so many areas. One aspect that really has come together over the last year is our new office and initiative called Beyond Barnard. It's really a fantastic place, and the idea is that we wanted a one-stop shop for students and alumni to come together to think for students about their first internship, their first fellowship, what a career might look like in a chosen field, graduate school, medical school, law school. We wanted students to be able to connect with alums who had had experiences in those areas, and we wanted especially to be able to provide the network and opportunities for students who are coming from families that maybe didn't have that built in. It's been a huge success. It's based on two ideas. One is that your major does not dictate your career path. We didn't want students to have to decide before that they were going to go to the office for law school or the office to think about finance. We wanted students to come and think about how humanities degrees are being snatched up in tech, how scientists can think about careers in science writing or other fields. It's really true that we are teaching our students how to think, not what to think, which is important, but how to think. And that translates into almost any career path. So one thing that we've done has been bringing in, for example, history majors who've gone off to successful careers in tech and finance and nonprofits, and shown our students who have a passion for history what they can do with that degree. And alumni are part of that as well. So the first basic premise of Beyond Barnard is that your major does not dictate your career path. The second premise is that it's a false idea that you need one set of skills to go into industry and another to go get a PhD in sociology. It's the same skill set. Being able to think critically, to write, to deal with data, to communicate your ideas. These are all the techniques you need. These are all the things we're teaching our students at Barnard, regardless of their major. And we wanted to make sure our students were having those opportunities at their fingertips. I'm pleased to announce that for the class of 2018, we're still gathering the data for this year's class. We now, with the help of Beyond Barnard, within 6 months, 93% of our class was working or in graduate school. I keep on saying, well, what about that 7%? And then my English faculty say they're writing their first novel and traveling, leave them alone. I said, fine. So I just want to give you some numbers to show you how impactful Beyond Barnard has been. In just this academic year, we've had almost 4,000 individual advising appointments. And you might say, well, how is that possible with only 2,600 students? Beyond Barnard is not just open to our students, it's lifelong, and about 20% of the use of Beyond Barnard has been from alumni. We want our alumni to think about Beyond Barnard as a place where they can give back knowledge, but also a resource that they can use themselves. And so students within 5 years of getting out of Barnard are one big population that's using it. And another big population are women coming back, trying to come back into a career after having and raised kids or in some form of that. And we now have employers not only recruiting for our undergraduates right out of college, but also recruiting for people to come back into the workforce. So it's really exciting. So I urge you, if you're interested, you can be an alumni mentor. You can volunteer to be an alumni on call, where you take 1 or 2 calls a semester from students. You can come in and talk about your field, your experiences. All you have to do is email Beyond Barnard, and you just Google Beyond Barnard, and there's an email right there, and they'll get right back to you. So it's really exciting. In addition to helping students think about their career paths and what's next, we're also helping students think about additional educational opportunities. And one new initiative that I'm pleased to announce that's tied to Beyond Barnard is this year we rolled out a suite of 5-year programs where Barnard women in 5 years get a bachelor's at Barnard and a master's at Columbia. We're really excited about that. So we've had a program in international relations, and we now have programs with the School of International Relations, the School of Public Health, engineering, and a program in statistics. We're working on programs in social work and several other fields. And the idea is not that women come into Barnard knowing that they want to go into these programs or having to apply. They apply in their junior year. It's an express admissions process. They don't have to take the GRE. As long as they're tracked in terms of the classes they take, they apply in their junior year, they get in their senior year, they start the master's program in a combined way. And in 5 years rather than 6, they graduate with both a bachelor's and a master's. We're really excited. We're going to have our first class of public health students this year and our first class of engineering students, and we're going to have, I believe, over 10 students in the international relations program. It's just fantastic. And I'm very proud to report once again that Barnard actually is one of the top producing institutions of Fulbright scholars across all colleges and universities. We're looking to do more in that area, to have more students apply and get into those programs, and it's really exciting. It's another testament to how amazing our students are. So in addition to thinking about our students and their careers once they leave Barnard, we're also thinking a lot about how to support our students while they're here. Health and wellness is a really important aspect of the college experience. Our students come in having pushed so hard, done amazing work to get where they are today, and we know that anxieties and the worry about failure run high. So we've really been thinking about how across campus we can support our students in a holistic way, not only in terms of what happens in the classroom, but actually getting them to start designing their lives, thinking about what it means to balance what happens in the classroom with exercise and eating right. How do you have compassion for yourself when you fail? How do you take risks knowing it's okay to fail in certain aspects of what you're doing? And so we partnered with the JED organization, which actually looks at mental health and wellness across campuses, colleges, and universities, and have worked with several hundred colleges and universities. And we will be rolling out next year additional supports for our students in terms of thinking about how to help them both inside and outside the classroom. This is everything from programs we're already doing. We have great peer educators and supporters through our Well Woman program. We're also starting to think about how we support students in everything. So we did a financial fluency workshop this year for our seniors to think about investing and how to do taxes, everything that you might not get and might have questions that you feel aren't really appropriate to ask, and they loved it. And the one thing they said is you have to do it earlier. So we're gonna start thinking about our first year's sophomores as well. And of course, we're continuing to be the epicenter for really important thought and artistic output across New York City. I'm really pleased that our artist in residence this year, our Orzek Distinguished Artist in Residence is Yvonne Rayner, who's award-winning pioneer for women in dance and gives students just really fantastic opportunities. So we'll have Yvonne on campus this year to talk, to work with our students, and we try and do this once a year with an amazing artist, and it's really fantastic. And of course, I'm also really working to push what we do with Barnard around math and science. It's a misnomer to say we work on the liberal arts and sciences. Sciences are part of the liberal arts. Just like all of our students need amazing support and education in terms of writing, all of our students take an intensive year of first year writing. All of our students need to be computationally literate. They need to be able to interpret graphs and data, so when they see information, they can make their own decisions about what it says. And we're really pushing on this front. We are one of the only colleges and universities in the country that has a requirement that all of our students take classes that push them to think empirically with data, that push them to think technologically and digitally. And we're really working to get rid of boundaries across the humanities and sciences. The Milstein Center for Teaching and Learning is a perfect example. We have an amazing design lab where architects come together with scientists to think about the kinds of creations they would make. We have a movement lab that brings together psychologists and dancers to think about human movement and digital technology and dance. We have an empirical reasoning center that works oftentimes with our humanities faculty to collect quantitative data that supplements the type of qualitative exercises they're doing in the field. And it's really so fantastic. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning, that we are teaching our students how to think. And that happens across different disciplines. And we're really excited with the work that we're doing in the sciences. Now a third of our graduates are math and science majors, which is really impressive. And another really fantastic statistic is that a third of our underrepresented minority students are math and science majors. This is compared to 17% of the national average. It's really fantastic. And these young women are going off to the most amazing graduate schools, medical schools, in health fields, in research. Just really impressive. And to supplement that, to support this idea that we need to think about technological and digital computation across our students, across the curriculum, I'm pleased to announce that this year we started computer science at Barnard. We have an amazing new chair of computer science, Rebecca Wright, who comes to us from Rutgers, and she is the new Druckenmiller Professor of Computer Science. She's also running the Vagelos Computational Science Center, which is working to provide computation and supports for our students and faculty across the curriculum. They, for example, are running one-day coding workshops for some of our English majors. They're bringing our arts and humanities and science students together, and it's really fantastic, and we are doing all of this in the Milstein Center. It's really very exciting. And of course, Barnard would not be Barnard without, as I mentioned, our amazing students. And I just want to give you a couple statistics so you understand what it means to bring in the type of class that we brought in. As you know, we're need blind in our admissions. We're actually one of few colleges and universities that doesn't look at financial need when we admit our students. And this goes back to this idea that you cannot have the kind of educational system you need unless you are able to bring women in regardless of their financial backgrounds. I always say that ability is so much more widespread than opportunity, and our goal is to create that opportunity. So we don't look at financial means, and for the class of 2018, close to half were on some form of aid. But we work really hard not only not to look at financial means, but also to meet full financial needs. So for the class of 2018, those on financial aid graduated with a total loan amount of just $16,500. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, most colleges and universities do this through their endowment. Their endowment pays the financial aid budget. That is not what happened at Barnard. We spend almost $50 million a year on financial aid, and only $7 million of that comes from the endowment. That means that we are spending a ton of money in our operating budget to support the kind of students we want to bring to campus, and that means it's so important that we have the support of our alumni in terms of pushing the fundraising, everything that happens on campus. And I want to say that it doesn't matter what you give, it's that you give. It's a sign of your confidence in the mission of the college. Any amount counts, and we really appreciate all of you and everything you're doing to support the financial aid of our students. And it all really does begin with you. Barnard is Barnard because of our alumni, because of the amazing work you do. And we're really looking to increase alumni participation in our annual fund, in support for financial aid. We're excited about the progress we've made. Last year, Diana and Roy Vagelos put up a $10 million match to match financial aid for new scholarships. We raised in 1 year $12 million to match that $10 million. And we're going to do more. You are it. You are what makes Barnard so special, and we're so excited to have you here this weekend. I ask that you are ambassadors. Tell people about Barnard. Talk to them about the importance of participating in whatever way, whether it's financial or through giving your time to Beyond Barnard, whether it's meeting with students. There's so many amazing things going on campus, and I'm so happy that you're all here to be a part of it. So thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.